My name is John, and I'm just here to discuss movies on the YT. And if you want to join that discussion, go ahead and smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell as well. And today, we are talking about the brand new Mel Gibson Santa Claus action thriller, Fatman. And it's directed by Ian and Eshom Nelms. So let's get started. In Fatman, we have a spoiled rich kid who gets a lump of coal for Christmas. And so, what does he do? He decides to hire a hitman to take out and hunt down Santa Claus. Meanwhile, Santa Claus is down on his luck, unable to pay his bills, because this version of Santa Claus doesn't live in this magical North Pole. He lives in Alaska. And to make a few extra bucks, he contracts out his elves to the U.S. military. Now, this is a crazy and bonkers premise, but the movie itself, I don't think is nearly as crazy or as bonkers as the premise makes it sound. As I always do with these action movies, I'm going to start off by talking about the action. That being said, this is an action thriller, and it leans a lot heavier on the thriller side. The action is really only in that third act. But that action in the third act, it's executed well enough. You understand everything going on. It's nothing that's going to blow your mind or anything. It's stuff you've seen done a million times and a million times better, but it's nothing that's going to distract you. I don't think that it's nothing that's particularly or noticeably just awful or bad. And I found myself really enjoying the final confrontation between Mel Gibson and Walton Goggins. I thought it was a nice kind of Western style shootout or duel that those two had. And I kind of really enjoyed that scene. And moving on to the acting. This is the reason to watch this movie. Mel Gibson is the reason to watch this movie. And if it wasn't for behind the scenes or off-screen issues, Mel Gibson would probably be my favorite actor. I love almost every movie he's in. And I think he gives a magnificent performance in this movie. Mel Gibson's performance is a performance that this movie does not deserve. And I don't even know if I'd say that this premise deserves this good of a performance. I don't think it's his best performance by a long shot, but I think his performance and portrayal of Santa Claus, especially this down on his luck Santa Claus, and he goes very serious with it too, which helps give this movie kind of an off tone, but very niche tone, and I don't think it's a bad tone either. But I think his performance really sells this movie and really elevated this movie a lot for me personally. That being said, Walton Goggins, I think, gives a decent enough performance as well. He gives kind of a almost emotionless type of performance or cold performance, but I think that's kind of what the character he's playing is supposed to be like. So I think he kind of did a decent enough job with that while also having some nice cheesy dialogue and cheesy moments thrown in as well. Moving on to the visuals. This is a part of the movie I was actually a little surprised by, because there's a couple moments where I really liked the shots they were going for, particularly on Walton Goggins' road trip. There's just this nice sequence where you get like this backseat POV, and Walton Goggins is in like the front seat driving, obviously. And I just kind of liked that visual aesthetic that scene had, along with other parts of that scene that I enjoyed. And then going back to that final showdown between Santa Claus and the hitman, I kind of liked the way it was shot and the way they executed it with some of the kind of shots, perpendicular shots, as well as a kind of aerial shots as well, that I kind of really did enjoy. Moving on to the story and the writing. The premise itself sounds very bonkers and crazy, but the way it's written it just feels like a generic kind of someone wants revenge on this person type of thing, because the military aspects aren't very, while they're easily felt because you see it quite a bit, it's really only there for the emotional development of Santa Claus, which I thought worked really well. And I kind of loved the Santa Claus story and his kind of emotional arc through this movie. That being said, it's not a movie that's focusing on these big emotional arcs or character development or anything. It's really just about this odd niche tone of a movie with a very bonkers premise. And I think the writing executes both the niche tone and the premise decent enough. I don't think it's as good as it should have been or could have been, but I think it did a good enough job for me personally. Mainly because I did like a lot of the dialogue. And then lastly, the sound. You know, they throw in some Christmassy sounds and stuff, and it was all executed to a non-distracting way. And it kept me pretty engaged as well. And so overall, I think Fatman is a decent enough R-rated action thriller, but I also don't think many people are going to enjoy it, because I think the tone especially is for kind of a niche audience. And before we get into the rating, I'm just going to say, in terms of his acting and directing, I'm a big Mel Gibson fan. I'm also a fan of just R-rated thrillers with some action thrown in, and I'm also a big Christmas fanatic. And so this is just a movie packaged perfectly for me, and so my rating's probably going to be higher than most. This is also a movie that where the score I critically want to give it differs from the score that my personal kind of enjoyment level wants to give it. So I'm just kind of going to give it a score that I don't do too often, and just give it a 3.75. Thanks for watching this video. If you've seen Fatman, go ahead and put your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you like this video, if you like me, go ahead and smash that thumbs up icon and smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell as well to stay up to date on my videos. And I will return next time when I see you again.